Hi there and welcome back to Today's Sewing. I thought today I would just have a bit of a chat to you while I'm doing some hand sewing. Just to let you know what I've been up to. I will be talking about some health stuff, so if health stuff isn't your thing, you might not want to listen to all of this. But first I'll talk about what I'm doing my hand sewing on, and I'll just give you a bit of a review of this pattern, because for once I didn't draft my own pattern. I've had this rayon fabric sitting around for a while, and I decided I wanted to do a sort of 70s long sleeve dress, kind of a shirt front with gathers around the yoke, flared skirt, nice gathered sleeves, and maybe a bit of a tie at the neck with sort of a stand collar. And I was all prepared to draft it, and then I discovered this pattern from Vogue, the Vogue 9076, and it was pretty much what I planned to do. So I thought, well, why go to all the stress of drafting it if I could pick this up on sale for $6 at Spotlight. Actually $5.10 since I'm a Spotlight member, and it just seemed far too easily. So I have made this up. Look, I love Vogue patterns. I love the cut of it. I love a lot of the designs of it. Their instructions are not always the easiest, and in actual fact I didn't really follow the instructions for this one. Incidentally, I made A with the slightly wider cuffs and the tie at the neck, but made it longer like C. In fact, added 10 centimeters to it. But I have to say, with this pattern, they did make a few mistakes. I think especially if you start to do it in the bigger sizes. From what I could tell, there were triangles, there were other circle placement markings which were just in the wrong place, which meant when you gathered the bodice, some of the circles were in the wrong place, which meant that your gathers didn't go far enough. The triangles didn't match. The collar especially was all marked wrong, and so it was really complex to fit the collar on it because that wasn't right. If you're doing it in the smaller sizes, I think you're going to be okay without those problems, because what I could tell is the markings in the smaller size were correct, but as they sized it up to the bigger sizes, they didn't size up those sort of markings properly. So love the pattern, love how this dress is turning out, but be aware that there can be issues. The other thing that I did differently on this one, and I don't know if you can see, but I made it up differently so that I could encase all of these raw edges inside the facing. And so that just took some changes in how this dress got made up. But again, if you've got a bit of experience, you can probably sort that out for yourself. I'm actually planning to make this up probably as a shirt as well. So I might try and film that for you and show the process that I use for it, and also how I'll be adapting the pattern as a shirt. So look out for that one in the future when I get around to it. So for now, I just need to do things like slip stitch down the cuffs. I have a sleeve armhole seam that I need to finish off, and I will be finishing it off so that it looks like this one here, which I just did a hand sewed mock French seam, just overcasting it. So I might work on that one now so I can show you how to do it. First thing first, I'm going to cut out all of these spare threads to make it easy to tuck them all in to the seam. And to make the mock French seam really easy, open out your seam, fold the seam edges into the middle and then overcast. And if you don't know what an overcast stitch is, basically go through and the thread goes over. Go through and the thread goes over and closes into not quite a neat seam. And we're going to go all the way around. So I did say that I'm not only going to be reviewing that pattern, but talk a bit about health stuff, because you probably notice if you've subscribed to my channel, I haven't been on a whole heap. Probably my last post was maybe last year when I was working on my computer to get it up and running. Yes, I got my new computer up and running, but I kind of took a bit of a break from sewing for the only reason that I was putting on weight and I was getting really despondent because I was putting on weight, especially around my waist, and I was finding that the skirts I'd made from the other year were not fitting me anymore, and I was getting really, really annoyed with it. I was also approaching menopause, and I thought, oh my goodness, if this is what's going to happen when I hit menopause, I'm really not looking forward to the weight gain that's going along with it. So last November, I had a chat to my GP and I said, look, I'm putting on weight, especially around my waist. I think I'm going to want to lose weight. So she did all of the normal blood tests to check for thyroid and all of those sorts of things, and really nothing came up. So I thought, right, can't blame my thyroid. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and go on a diet. So that's what I did. I talked about doing intermittent fasting, probably trying 16-8. Does that go up to 24? Yeah, so you don't eat for 16 hours, you only eat for 8 hours in the day. And try it in that sort of a window sort of dieting, and she agreed that that would be worth trying. So I did that. And I lost, well, not much weight. But interestingly, come the end of January, I was taking my measurements and I noticed that I was losing weight around my bust and my hips, but my waist measurement was still going up. And you know, by then I'd hit my highest weight ever, and I was thinking, something just doesn't seem right. And then I was getting this sort of pain, almost like a stitch up in my ribs. So finally, when that went away and then came back again, and I realized I hadn't pulled a muscle gardening, I thought, no, this isn't right, going to see my GP. So by now, this is maybe mid-February, early to mid-February, I go and see my GP and do all of that. And she says, no, that doesn't sound right. So she had a look at my belly, she felt it. She said, that's weird. I'm going to send you off for a CT scan. And she said, I'm going to make it a priority one. And that's when I started to twig that, oh dear, something may not be right. So anyway, it was too late in the day to do it that afternoon, so I took time off work the next morning, went and got the CT scan, and by midday I was getting the phone call back from my GP saying, can you come in and see me? And of course that's when all the alarm bells start going off. So it turned out that I had a 30 centimetre tumour on my ovaries. Well, one was 30 centimetres, the other one was a much more ordinary 6 centimetres or something like that. Not what I expected to hear. It also came up that there was something on my liver as well, and that's immediately when you start going, oh shit. So she sent me off for a blood test. I got that done straight away. Results were in the next day. And unfortunately, that count was also high and much higher than normal, which tends to suggest cancer. So, from somebody who rarely has had anything but mental health issues for most of my life, it was a huge shock. So the doctor was putting my recommendation through to my local hospital, suggested that probably with something like this it will be acted on quite quickly. Meanwhile, my mother, who was panicking, then spoke to a retired obstetrician who lives up my end of town and asked for his advice. Anyway, by the end of the weekend, because this was Friday that I got my blood test results, by the end of that weekend, my mother's friend had recommended a doctor for me to get hold of. So on Monday, I rang to get a referral from my GP to a lovely gynecological oncologist just down the road from where I work. And surprisingly, she was meant to be in surgery on Tuesday, but the surgery got delayed. So I managed, quite surprisingly, to get an appointment for the very next day. And then before I know it, I am being booked in for surgery, having to sort time off work to have about a 6-week break to basically have the tumours removed, so my ovaries, my fallopian tubes and my uterus and cervix all taken out. So within a week and a half, I'm in hospital having 2.5 hours surgery to have all of these things removed. So at the moment I'm in recovery. I was in hospital for about 6 days, learning again how to move, getting unhooked from all of these tubes, the painkillers with a button, all of those sorts of things. I've been cut open from pretty much just from the bottom of my breastbone all the way down, because the tumour was just so big that it was going to have the big cut. So it's been quite a journey and quite a recovery. With these sorts of tumours, they don't do biopsies first. You basically don't know what you're going to be faced with until you're in surgery. And the doctor was basically saying, we'll see, if you are lucky and it's benign, you might only have to have those things removed. If it has spread, then she will make the decision on what else to move. The pathology is done while you're still out for the count under anaesthesia. So surgery took nearly 3 hours. She got the tumour or tumours out in one go, but certainly the bigger one was the more worrying one. As it turns out, the tumour was not benign, but nor was it malignant. Apparently with ovarian tumours, you can have this thing that's called a borderline tumour, and that's what mine was. It's a tumour of low malignant potential is what it used to be called. So it can spread, but it tends to spread slowly and not be very invasive. I was extremely fortunate, I had to say. For all it got so big, it hadn't travelled. It hadn't spread out the ovaries. So she had a really, really good look at everything that was in there and couldn't see any sign of the tumour having spread or impacted on anything. So I was, I think, extremely, extremely lucky. I guess all I can say to you women out there, listen to your bodies. Don't take for granted that they just say, well, menopause does funny things to your body. Just ignore it and assume that that's all that's going on. If things feel wrong, talk to your doctor and insist. In retrospect, I should have noticed that the way my belly was expanding was probably not normal. Belly fat is different, but you know, I just assumed that this is what happens as you get older, as your hormones change. Maybe that's the sort of belly fat you grow. Well, no, it wasn't. So here I am, post-surgery, minus a few bits in my body. I have, fortunately, along with the 8 kilos worth of tumour that was removed. In actual fact, my tumour was too big to be weighed in the operating theatre because that scales only went up to 5 kilos. So my doctor had to guess how big that tumour and how heavy the tumour was, but she estimated it was probably about 8 kilos. All in all, post-surgery, or certainly from the weight I was when I started dieting back in November, I've now lost 20 kilos. Probably 4 kilos of that was due to dieting, 8 kilos was due to the tumour, and now I've probably lost at least another 5 kilos due to the liquid diet that I was on for the first week while my stomach was and guts were getting back into working order after the surgery. So here I am healthy, I am recovering, I am having to sit a fair bit, but slowly, gradually moving about a lot more and healing really, really well. And one thing this has done, it's given me my waistline back, which is, I think, why I'm now finding my renewed passion for sewing, because one, I'm fitting into the clothes that I started sewing 2 years ago, and two, I can actually make lovely dresses like this, which really work for a sort of hourglass figure, which I'm getting back. So that's the good news that came out of the, well, rather difficult couple of months that I've just had. So that is the story as to why there haven't been as many videos as I probably would have liked to have made over the last little bit. And it does mean that hopefully there will be more videos for you in the very near future. And I will just say, over this past month of recovery for me, my mother has also been staying with me, and she will be back in a few days. And I am hoping that I can even talk her into being involved in a video or two, because my mother was the one who taught me how to sew. She's taught me everything I know, and she is an amazing seamstress. Mum trained to be a home ec teacher, so she has taught sewing and cooking to generations of students, and she has such amazing knowledge about how to sew. And I would love to get her on to help teach you and to teach me a lot of those things that I'm still learning. How to do different hand stitches, how to do fun things like smocking and, you know, all of those sorts of things. other interesting finishing techniques that I still don't know. So I'll see if I can get my mother on for a video or two and help know and see what she can teach us as well on the YouTube community. So there you go. That's where I'm at. I hope that this has helped you. I know we've all got different health journeys that we've been on, and I would be interested to hear if there's anybody out there who's had to undergo very similar things to me. I'm extremely blessed that I've got a really great community around me. I've had people talk to me who've been on a similar journey and have really helped to keep my spirits up through all of this. I have a strong faith and a strong prayer community who have helped and supported me through this as well, and I've really felt that through my journey. But hey, comment below if you've got something that you'd like to add to all of this, that you've got a journey with health that you'd like to think about. And all I can say is, look, if you would like to do something, why not put something towards ovarian cancer research? I've been extremely fortunate that I'm not going to have to undergo chemo. It could have so very easily gone the other way. So here we go. This is what I've been working on. I don't know how well you can see it, but that's the finish that I've now got for my sleeve seam. I'm going to do something similar around, because I had to do this. The dress does not have pockets, so of course I had to add pockets to my dress, but I'll have to finish off this edge of my pockets as well. So I'll do a mock French seam on this one as well. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to add my buttons, and then hopefully when Mum gets back I'll be able to stand up long enough for her to do the hem for me. So I will stop jabbering on for a bit now and just get on with my hand sewing. Enjoy. Oh yes, and you could probably hear Laurie in the background over there. She's just had a bath and she's happily chooking away in a box behind you over there. And that's why you can hear those sort of chooky noises while I've been talking as well. Hopefully Laurie will come for a visit later. And here's the final dress, all finished. And yes, I'm back at work, and look at that, I've even got a bit of a waistline. So thank you for joining me on Yesterday Today's Sewing, putting up with my story. Join me again for more sewing.